Hello folks, my name's Adam, here with Rent a Website. Again, this is the second video in our blog series helping Australian small and medium-sized businesses. So ultimately you can check out our blog on Tumblr as well. That'll have the written content that I'll be talking about, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the video content. So moving on with it, this week we're talking and elaborating more on what I spoke to last week in developing those customer relationships. And the big question is, how many relationships are you in? Are you really married to each and every single customer? Do you want to be married to each and every single customer? Those are the big questions. So we all know, well, at least most of us hopefully know, or at least have some vague idea that we need to foster those relationships with our customers. Customers are the most important thing. And the big idea is, yes, there are some customers that are a bit of a pain, and we need to learn how to manage these things because they will come up. So first off, communication is big in relationships. So we all have said this before. We've all heard that our wives and girlfriends would like more communication. Same with our relationships with our customers. Communicating to them and with them is very important. So what does that mean for our business? We need to talk to our customers. I'll tell you a little bit of a story. I had a colleague come up to me and ask me for some business advice. He runs a cafe just down the street, and he wanted to know how to get more customers into his store. Ultimately, he wants the cafe to make more money, and he wants it to grow, but he doesn't really know what to do. So I asked him, I told him, just spend the next week talking to your customers, get to know them, see what they're involved in, see if any of them are in clubs or sports teams, or do they get together with friends on a regular basis? Do they have a night of the week, like a date night or something with their spouse or whatever? Any sort of group meeting in a social atmosphere that could be indicative of going to a cafe. And just spend the week talking to them, get to know them, and find these things out. Really dig deep and get to know who these people are who are coming into your cafe already. So a week later, I met this individual again, and I asked him, "Hey, how's it going? How did it go talking with your customers? What did you really get out of it?" And what he said to me was, he said, "Adam, I just didn't get enough time in the office this week to make posters and to do stuff of that nature. So I just really didn't get around to doing what you told me to." And I said, when did I tell you to sit in the office? No. The big idea was to get out there and talk to customers. So ultimately, his big issue was he was too busy serving the customers to really talk to them and find out who they were and what they're involved in. When realistically, you could do this at the exact same time. And ultimately, you just take that couple seconds more with each person, or that minute more with each person, to really push that relationship further and really communicate with them. And it can pay off in dividends. Why? Because the next point after talking to your customers is listening to them. So ask questions of them and find out what they have to say about it. So, in relation to listening, we've all heard the term actively listening. This is where you not only hear that they are making audible noises, but you are also taking what they say and critically thinking about it so that you can respond in a creative way with your expertise and personal insight. So when they speak back to you about your questions, which hopefully are framed in the right way, and we can do a blog post later on proposing the right questions to your customers, but ultimately take their feedback in full and for what it is. Don't just audibly hear that they are talking to you when really you have other things on your mind, like, oh, what's going on in the office? So have I ordered enough new coffee beans for the week? And do I have enough napkins out on the front? And oh, that person just made a big mess. I'm going to have to go clean that up. While you're trying to have this conversation, the conversation needs to be two ways, and you need to be very much an active part of that conversation for it to be successful. Remembering their name is a huge, hopefully, how the wife and kids, how's work going, and ask them those questions. And when you when you lead your conversation through to a certain point, you can ultimately push deeper to see what they're involved in, what clubs are they part of, what sports teams. The big idea for advice from my colleague was, if you know what they're involved in, you can invite him to host those events at your cafe. And if you already have that established relationship, they're more willing to say yes, and they're more willing to bring their friends to a place where they know they are going to have friendly staff and good service and a good product. So once we get over listening and being an active participant in the conversation, we can start to manage all these relationships. Ultimately, we can't remember all of this stuff. Ideally, you will, and if you see your customers on a regular basis, you might be able to track and manage those details in your mind, or your staff will. But ideally, you have a database, and you are actively involving yourself in what is called customer relationship management, or CRM for short. Large companies use massive databases that collect all sorts of information, like gender and age, and they kind of very systematically set them up, kind of like a big Excel document type thing, which could help you remember this. If your interactions are few and far between, you could find this very helpful to pull up information, purchase history, so you know what kind of projects this person is working on. If you are in trades, if you are running a cafe like my friend, you can know their favorite type of coffee, or what they spend, how much they spend normally per purchase, and encourage them to upgrade to maybe coffee and a sandwich as opposed to just a coffee in the morning. So these databases can really push a larger, richer relationship with your customers. So I'll just review that one more time. Make sure you talk to your customers, establish that relationship, know their name, know what they're involved in, and see how they can be a resource for you, either by word of mouth and bringing in other people and other interests into your business, and then listening to those answers and being an active participant in the conversation to develop that, and then compiling that information for further development of communication and managing those many relationships that you have, so that it does not get too overwhelming. Ultimately, this shows that you value your customer as much as your customer wants to value your business and get something from you. If you show that that relationship goes two ways, you will find yourself in a much more fruitful relationship with your customers. So that'll be it for this week. Make sure you click on some of the links in the description below to follow us to our Facebook page, where we run frequent competitions and contests for promotions through Rent Your Website. We also have links to the written content in the blog on Tumblr, and we also have a subscribe button for the YouTube channel, so you can get frequent updates on our video blogs. Thank you very much for tuning in this week. Have a good one.